Alrighty. Hello, everybody.
Hey,
Hey. Hello, everybody.
hola, ¿cómo está?
Port K. Hey, everybody. This is episode 36 of Shoot the Breeze, a chill interview and a chill time all around for you and me. I am your host, HeavyDivider, and alongside me for my guest for the night is, well, they're a kind-hearted individual. As a matter of fact, they're somebody you can always enjoy hanging out with, as well as somebody you can always just learn a thing or two from. No matter the case on hand, or if you're pretty much getting started with anything, say like modeling, just by watching what they're doing. My guest for tonight is Drewski. DrewskieVR, but we just call him Drewski for short. What's going on, bud?
Yeah, because VR is cringe.
I feel like before that or so, you went by a different name, but this might fall in line with the first question I have here. And that question being is, how the hell did we meet?
Well, I think we met earlier, like really early on, actually, like around, I think it was actually very early 2019. That's because I started playing, like, seriously late 2018.
I think it
might have been even in December.
I think it might have been somewhere in late 2018. I feel like it's either November or December, because at that time or so, I finally had my, like September, I finally had my Oculus Rift to be able to walk around or so. But yeah,
Yes.
At the time, and I was just walking.
We met through snow too.
Yeah.
You were a big Iron Man boy.
Yeah, I was big dapper Iron Man, just walking through, and yeah, it's weird because the story about that is that I basically joined on a actually I can't speak. Joined on a friend of mine by the name of Doji, and when I went there to go see him and everything, I remember you were there with a few others at that time too, because I think somebody who was right next to you on hand. Because I'm trying to remember who else was there at that time, because I know the Beast
at that
was.
time it was Cloud. Their name was Cloud Akane.
That might have been them. That actually might have been them at that time too, because I know there was a few people there at the time. Because the Beast was there. I know for a fact a rare name that I mentioned one hand, just because I remember their avatars being Kratos, that being a Honut, and
yes, Honut. Honut was he was a different breed.
Different breed on him.
Sure.
Different breed, maybe might have been ahead of his time. But yeah, there was a few others there, and I remember meeting you there or so. And again, at one point or another, when I heard your voice, I did mistake you as a girl. And then I realized, oh, hey, wait a minute, that's not actually their voice. But
I'm like, hold up a second. Yo, I think that chick's got a dick, bro.
Well, I'm not gonna go over there and find out. Which I went over there just to find out. But yeah, I was gonna say at that time or so, yeah, you were getting back in or so, because I do remember.
Oh my god, this was in the box, wasn't it?
It was in the box.
The box that we met.
It was in the box.
Yes. Oh my. I'm remembering a lot more now, because back then it was, I think we did like we were doing like some kind of like lolly police raid, more or less. So at first we raided we did Turtle Dude. And then he was like, yo, y'all wanna go like raid like Snow or whatever? And it was like, and we were like, yeah, sure, why not? Fuck it, sounds fun. And then I recognized True, because we met not too long ago. Before that, I met him through Reese. And so I was like, I don't see Snow anywhere, but there's True just chilling by the mirror. Let's do the lolly police raid on him real quick. So we did that. And then after that, then Turtle like introduced us, or when we raided Snow, because we finally saw him, and it was me, Cloud. I think it might have been Honut. He was part of it too, and there were some other people too. I can't remember everybody though, unfortunately. And then after that, we started to kind of like just like chill out and like hang out in the box, whatnot. You know, just kind of like, you know, fuck around, do whatever we were doing in there. And then Cloud and I started to do our girl voices, right? And he like took interest in that, and then he was like, and we were like, yeah, we'll be your traps, why not?
Because all I remember too is that basically there was like two separate groups. Like you and a few others were by the mirror, just basically talking and everything, and Snow was over here just basically doing what Snow does, with like a bunch of group of people surrounding him and everything. So I went to go find Doji, and they were too busy. Just I think they were talking to Snow and everything, so I left them be, and I just went by the mirror just to see what's going on because I observe everything, just watch before I say anything. And yeah, I think we had a small conversation on hand. I don't remember what it was about, but I remember just listening in. So.
Yeah. For conversations for so long ago, it would be hard for me to really say anything to, because I wouldn't remember.
No, you're all good. It'd be all good no matter what. And all I gotta say is, yeah, that's about 3 years now. Well, close to 3 years now. I think about it. Like from that particular time all the way.
At the end of this year, it'll be 3 years, definitely.
Yeah. How time flies by. We're basically like the grizzly old vets of like VRC. Like we've seen everything come and go. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So let me ask you.
I actually started playing VRChat early 2017. I was playing with some friends that I knew from a separate Discord that we used to play D&D together, and we kind of like, somebody in my group was just like, "Yo, you wanna play some VRChat?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me go download it real quick." And then I downloaded it, and I got on, and I remember the old loading screen, and I just like, it was cool. I liked it. The only issue was I was still on desktop at the time, so I didn't really feel like I was really playing it. I mean, but anymore now, it's like, like, you can play it just fine desktop. You don't need VR. More immersive, definitely, but
yeah,
it's like, I mean, even when you get VR, you kind of just be like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go in desktop for a while.
Especially nowadays too, where they make it where it's more flexible for desktop users. Because back then, yeah, it wasn't really too flexible. Like you had maybe 50% of the game you were playing with, because some of the things you can't really grab at certain points or be able to interact with certain things that were in your hand. So. But
oh yeah, for sure.
But I will say, too, which just kind of leads to my next question I have on hand, being hobbies on hand besides this game. Like, I put down modeling. I also, at certain points, have caught you playing Call of Duty, but I assume there's, like, multiple other multiplayer games here and there. But I was going to say, what are your hobbies besides this game in general?
Well, like you said, modeling, I also do a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. We play every other Saturday and then also every other Wednesday. Hold on, my food's here.
Go right ahead. No, go right. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Funny enough, you mentioned it. Dungeons and Dragons. We need to do more Dungeons and Dragons, guy, when we get a chance for a new campaign.
And I'm back.
No, you're good. No, you're good. Welcome back.
Nice quick little run.
Yeah, nice quick little run.
Away.
Yep, 5 feet away on hand. So you mentioned like Dungeons and Dragons, like almost kind of like every Saturday or every Wednesday on hand.
Every other one, every other Saturday and every other Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you. On hand.
That's really fun because when we're doing those, in a lot of things, like, especially now, I try to play my character, basically. You know, like, what you see right here is what I'm trying to portray while I'm in those games as well.
No, I got you. Right? Because when you mentioned, like, Dungeons and Dragons, because I had a campaign this campaign was basically Chaotic Fireblaze's campaign on hand, which basically I was playing nothing but a paladin at that time. And the thing is, I've never had so many face and heel turns with a paladin in my life, where basically at one point I was just basically a normal paladin, then I got tricked thanks to basically Chaotic being the GM to become a dark paladin, and then we had this weird time loop thing happen where basically none of this happened, so I became a light paladin again, and then basically I somehow became a dark paladin again based out of weird circumstances. So basically I had some interesting yin and yang twists and turns that happened for the most part. But yeah, we need to get a chance to do some more D&D when we get a chance, Chaotic. I know it's gonna be a matter of time of when you get a chance for it, but it'll be nice. But past that. But yeah, past that or so on hand, I will say anything else, not multiplayer, but anything else hobby-wise or so that you do?
Yeah, actually, I also am really into cars. Like, I just picked something up not too long ago. At first, I really wanted to build up my Mustang, right? I have
Mm-hmm.
a 2011 Mustang GT, and it was really cool. It was really fast, and I wanted to do more to it. But unfortunately, with how much the maintenance was on it, and just like how much parts were in general, it
Mm-hmm.
was really hard to keep up. So eventually I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead, sell it to my brother, and I picked up something else. It's same year, but it's a completely different car. Not even American. it's a
Hmm.
uh, it's a 2011 G37 sedan, and I went ahead and picked this up because throughout my entire life, I've always had Fords. I've never had anything else. I felt like I was just kind of stuck because my dad was kind of like a brand loyalist, so he's like, if it ain't Ford, it ain't worth shit. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to go like I don't want to go like that.
Yeah.
I want to give other cars a chance, and I want to try some different stuff. And so I got this, and I'm really happy with it. Actually, it's a lot better on gas, and it's a 6-cylinder, and it can be very powerful if I put my money into it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the most important thing, especially like I said, being fuel efficient and everything, try to get you from point A to point B and save you a little bit of money on hand, which is nice, especially nowadays. Like to kind of share a
Oh yeah,
story,
definitely.
kind of share a story with that similar to this. Like I grew up in a midwestern kind of like cul-de-sac family, so basically the only kind of cars that we had that time was either GMC or Chevy, and in the most oddest way on hand or so, basically my father at that time was basically mostly like a Chevy kind of person. Like at one point, he somehow acquired a 2000 Corvette at one point, and then
Hmm.
and then basically past that or so, like it evolved from that to Dodge, where basically I don't know how he acquired this, but at the same time, it was maybe right place, right time. But he somehow got like a Dodge Neon SRT4 limited edition. It was like 56 out of 200. Like it was like white and blue racing stripes or so. Problem was it was stick shift. It was supposed to be mine, but the
Hmm.
unfortunate thing is it's stick shift. I didn't know how to drive it. At the same time, it only took premium gas, and that's rare, especially if it's in the Midwest. Trying to find premium gas. So so yeah, it was just kind of like one of those rare moments on hand where basically you get a chance to basically taste like a little bit of racing cars, but at the same time you also get a chance to taste like some interesting different things you never experienced. And I guess past that or so, I just basically went with like fuel efficient cars like a PT Cruiser, something that could at least get me from point A to point
Hmm.
B or anything. But yeah, I know a little bit about cars a little bit. I just haven't dived too big into it because I haven't been around cars, well, around car shows or anything. A little bit of a luxury here and there get a chance to go to when you get.
Honestly, with anybody that wants to get into cars, I would say most importantly, just try to get something reliable, something that's not too bad on gas either first,
Mm-hmm.
and then put your money into something that's going to be like fast and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. At least have something that gives you from point A to point B and not break down along the way. Because
Mhm. Exactly.
otherwise you're blowing your money into like something that can easily just not even last like 3 or 4 years. So, but let me change up a little bit of questions on hand by asking you about the VRChat scene. Now, in this current present and at this current time on hand with VRC in general, what is your overall opinion right now of VRC?
I um, I mean, I still try to keep the whole like the old feel of it and everything, but at the same time, with the new like stuff that they got coming, where you can spend like $5 a month or whatever. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't really like that at all.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
It's like sure you can support it and everything, but at the same time, it's just kind of weird because they say yes, our stuff is all optimized and everything like that, but is it really? Because it seems like every time if I go into the Steam VR menu and I have to like bring something else up, I'll come out of the Steam VR and I'll immediately have 11 frames a second. I'm just like, your game is not optimized. This is the only game this ever happens on.
Yeah, kind of almost false advertisement in a way.
Excuse me,
No,
sir.
yeah, you're all good. You're all good. Yeah, kind of false advertisement almost in a way or so. Which it's weird to say that because I get the idea basically the whole thing just kind of like be a Patreon, basically try to support them just so they could try to optimize the game. But if it gets to a point where we have like another like episode, another event on hand, like with the whole New Year's Eve thing that happened, where it's just like everything just kind of like shut down completely, or they weren't anticipating that amount of people getting on for New Year's or so. It's just kind of like, you know,
it's bullshit. I mean, they know how many people get on. It's like you can't expect somebody like you can't expect people not to get on during a holiday of all things, you know.
Especially during the pandemic.
Like, come on, guys.
Especially during a pandemic where everybody's being quarantined in, so they can't really go outside to celebrate, let alone go to like too many bars on hand or just basically fire off fireworks. So it's just like, you know, they're going to be inside trying to celebrate any way they possibly can. So, and
exactly.
But yeah, it's kind of like it's a weird position that VRChat has put them in, where it's either do or don't when it comes to the whole like I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, like they put themselves in a position where if they constantly keep failing or so, they're going to lose more support than they ever garnished up with this idea that they have in front of them. Like, that's just personally for me. So, I don't know.
I feel that. Like, I don't even really know. It's like at this point, with their security is lacking. Their like optimization, though they say it's very good, I don't really think that. I can definitely tell you that because for one, I'm not sucking their dick. I can tell you that for sure.
That's fine.
Like, I'm not gonna be someone that's gonna be like, yeah, VRChat is perfect. They're working their hardest. It's like, I'm sure they're working very hard, but I just don't feel like they're actually working their hardest.
No, I understand. On hand. Like I said, it's just a matter of time. Only time will tell, especially close to the end of this year, or what's going to happen on hand. The only thing they got to deal with now is just the competition on hand of like Chill Out VR finally being up and running, as well as just like Neos VR is still out there. So, you know, they got competition on hand to basically be the best they could be, so it's only just going to be a matter of what's going to happen later on as time goes by. But,
as far as Neos VR goes, like, out of the two, out of Chill Out VR and Neos VR, I honestly feel like Chill Out VR is, like, the easier one to actually get into. Neos VR, while I absolutely love the game, they still have a long ways to go as far as optimization goes as well. We had a world not too long ago to where we had I'd say about 20 people in there, and it ran decent. There's another time where we get into another world, and it's not the greatest experience. Like the lag was unbearable. Oops, sorry.
Let me guess, tornado warning?
And I don't know if it was tornado warning or it was Amber Alert. I didn't look. Oops, I'm a bad person.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. You're good. You're good.
But the Neos VR, they have a lot of cool stuff, but the only issue is they're putting a lot of stuff in it, but it's not 100% optimized yet. I'd say it's fairly good for where it's at currently, because you can grab other people's avatars. They have other attachments that you could put on your avatar to where you can actually, like, say, hold hands or something like that. You can throw them in the air if you really want to. You can spawn other stuff. It doesn't have to be attached to your avatar. You could have, like, guns and stuff in your inventory, and you can pull it out and say, hey, do you want a copy of this? And it's just like, and all you gotta do is just duplicate it, give it to them, and they can favorite it into their inventory.
No, I remember seeing that too. Especially they had like colliders on like different things of your avatar. For example, there's a guy who is one of the developers who has a collider on his spear where if you pull it, basically his eyes pop out, or so. Activates like an interesting animation.
Yep. There's one guy that he has his eyes will light up. He has like a feather on the side of his head, and when you grab that feather, you pull it down, It'll it's basically like a lamp.
Well, makes sense. Interesting, interesting idea. Makes sense. So, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
It was the greatest thing ever.
I can see on hand where you're coming from, whereas like they got a long ways to go, especially with the whole UI thing. Like it's interesting UI they've got going on where you don't have to go for Unity on for the most part, but you just got to go for their entire game in general in order to get an avatar uploaded.
It's getting better. It's not. I wouldn't say it's 100% user friendly yet. They're trying their best. But I feel like they still got a bit of ways to go before it's actually something that I would consider something that you could just jump in and play.
No, I got you.
But if you really wanted to, honestly, you could say you could bring your avatar, or you could have something that's already done in Blender. And you could, let's say you pay somebody and they play Neil's VR. You could bring them in, be like, yo, can you help me get this all set up? And then they'll be like, yeah, of course I can. And they'll do this, they'll do it to where they can set up everything for you. And they'll just say, here you go ahead and get into it, favorite it, save it, whatever you want to do. And say that's the same person that does like all the work in Blender, which is, something that, well, most of the avatars here already came from, so fuck it, right?
No, yeah, I got you on hand. Like you said, it's just like a whole new process on hand when it comes to it, and it's just a matter of like practice and learning as time goes by with it. But I was gonna say my next question on hand for you is basically the RP scene and basically / community scene when it comes to it. Now, I know you're only in one RP being Project F, which is, I believe, is Reese Skater's school RP, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
It was completely founded and started by Reese's. He later gave me a role to where I'm basically co-owner of the RP as well. So I have a say of who gets in and who does not get in. But ultimately he has the final say. If I don't feel like there's somebody that would be a really good fit, due to past history of them either metagaming or possibly bringing personal issues into the RP, then we'll kind of talk about that. There has been times where we talked about something for somebody else, but I went to go hang out with them just to kind of see like where they are, and kind of more or less kind of saw like how they do with their relationship and everything like that, and talk to them and just be like, yeah, I think they'll be all right. I think they're cool. I don't think they're gonna actually bring real life personal issues, whether it be like them like hating their job or them like or something within their relationship. And I'll tell him this, and he'll be like, yeah, I guess, yeah, that'll be fine then. So we kind of take each other's word very seriously within the RP.
Yeah, which is a good form of trust on hand, especially when you both want to see this thing like rise to its maximum potential on hand for what you guys have planned. So, well, I'm glad to hear it's going well on hand, or so. Like I said, I only been in one. Well, I can actually count as 2 school RPs on hand. There's the VR High, and then there is the Mythic University RP that I've been a part of.
I remember the VR High, actually.
Yeah, it was like, I will say it was kind of ahead of its time when it came to like school RPs in general, because, which I have been a part of, and I will say, I mean, it had some very good moments on hand, it had some rough patches here or there, but it still was a good memory to look back on. Because it was like my first RP being a part of, as much as it's everybody else's first RP, because this was basically made from the ground up. So.
And then you got stuff like, what's the one that you're in right now? I think you're in one with Lauren, right?
The one with Laura. The one I'm in currently right now is just the Mythic Guild RP, which is basically a spin-off from the Mythic Universe. This is Chaotic Fire Blazes RP. As far as like any other other RPs in general, I'm not really part of it. I'm not part of the Leo Heart RP right now because I can't keep up with time wise as well as anything else in particular. Just because I got my own things I gotta take care of, so I'm kind of like restricted to one RP right now. So
I feel you.
yeah. I mean, there may be some.
I'm the same way. Somebody talked to me about possibly joining Callus Row, and I'm just kind of like, I can really only do one with my current work and everything. It's really hard to actually find any kind of time, especially with just kind of how my work makes me feel, especially afterwards.
No, I feel you.
Where I just want to sleep.
No, I feel you.
Yeah.
And plus, Callus Row is kind of like one of those big RPs where, like, they get a lot of people come in here and there, but it also feels like there's got to be, like, an interesting, like, demand, not high demand, but kind of like an interesting point you have to reach in order to even be accessible to get into Callus Row. Like, it seems like there's got to be a certain, because I don't think they're going to randomly just, like, have someone, they're not going to have somebody, even if you have all the RP experience, somebody who's not well known to be able to walk in there and then just be able to do what they do. Because it feels like you got to be known for, like, another RP in order to ever get into a bigger RP. If that's how the chain of like communication works with like different RPs in general. So
that and it's either that, be well known within the RP community, or you just you're just chill with like whoever runs it, or if you're just chill with like some other people that can put in a good word for you, anything like that. Like, I mean, I could probably, I don't know, I could probably go talk to Shiz or even Sachi, you know, the guy that actually runs it, and just be like, yo, can I try this out? And they may say no, they may say, you know, yeah, come on in.
Yeah, because, it has to go all the way up to Arcadium, who's basically the, pretty much the head of the entire...
He's the actual, like...
He is...
Gotcha.
I feel like he is the head of it, because he's got, like, an entire website that's dedicated to all the people who are streaming it, no matter how many levels, because it's separated in, like, 6 different areas. All these made by different, like, map makers in general. And basically, it's just like 6 areas on hand, and basically, it's filled with, like, different other streamers in general that basically interact with everything, and it's, like, that's pretty much it. It's, like, not consolidated in one area. It's just, like, 6 spreaded areas of, like, different places. So... depending on what your character is. It's weird how it works, but it's an interesting concept on what you could do. It's just, I wonder how they're able to kind of keep an eye on things, which I feel like it has to be for that website that Arcanum has. So that's what I assume. But I will say
as a whole, I really do feel like the RP community is really fucking amazing, and honestly, in my personal opinion, highly underrated.
Highly underrated.
It's RP is one of the things that like not a whole lot of people go watch, but whenever somebody does find you and finds your like you just like hanging out, you know, doing the RP scene, then either they'll like love it or they'll hate it. And I've had people in my chat before, like they say they came by, they're watching the school RP. I let them know ahead of time, guys, I'm more than likely not going to be checking chat like at all during this entire thing. And some of them are cool with it, some of them are just kind of like they just like watch it and they're just like, you know, I never really thought about watching RP before, but after seeing this, you know, it's actually kind of cool.
I have a hard time with RP in general when it comes to like I think it's just based on the fact that like I need to talk to people on hand because I don't want to ignore anybody. It could be like an OCD thing where basically I know there's people in chat right now or so, and I don't want to ignore anybody on hand, especially if they say hello or anything. Kind of like, you know, it's like an impulse or anything. Like if someone says hello to you, you know, you want to say hello back to them, especially if you're keeping an eye on everything. So
you mean like the times where you're at a restaurant and then the waiter's like, enjoy your food, and you're just like, you too. Fuck.
Yeah, like that entirely. Like that entirely. And I think it's also to the matter of fact of like, you know, when you base yourself around like engaging everybody you have or be able to talk to them, like bring them down a level basically to talk to them here and there, and then you do an RP and you're not able to talk to them at all at certain points, like you could just look at your chat but you can't say anything. then it's just kind of like,
Right.
then it's kind of like beats the purpose of what you kind of stand for as a streamer or so, or a content creator.
Yeah, because as a streamer and just like content creator, I mean, we'll say streamer in specific.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like doing a video, say like for TikTok or YouTube or something like that, you're not really like, you don't really have a chat there at that moment that you're really worried about, like, you know, that you want to like accommodate everybody. You're just kind of like, you know, in the moment, whatever happens, you know, people can react to it afterwards. But for streamers, it's a lot different. It's, to me, honestly, a lot more stressful to be a streamer rather than just a content creator on like YouTube or whatever. And because you have a chat right there, you're live, they're talking to you, they're just they say hi, you know, you wanna accommodate them, be like, yo, what's up, dude, how you doing today? And it can be very stressful trying to balance the fine line between chatting to your chat and providing content for them to either enjoy, react to, or just, you know, just whatever.
Yeah, gotta split your attention down a bit, especially for what you do here and there, and then basically what you do. Because I assure you, it probably gets a really, really, really stressful on hand, especially for like having an active chat that basically scrolls by really fast. And you know, you're doing what you're doing, then you're trying to keep an eye on things. It's kind of hard to say hello or just basically answer somebody's question who posted, because it just kind of goes by really fast. Especially if you're like a really higher up tier on. Really high up tier with like a really active community. So,
well, and there's also a thing we could possibly get into there too, because
sure.
like, while there's some people that do have like, they have a lot of viewers, but it's like their chat's not always super active. Like there's some times where people that do have like a lower view count, but they have very chatty viewers. And sometimes there's some where I've been into a few streams where, you know, a few people are talking here and there. You know, still some people talk, but there's a lot of people just lurking, and they're just kind of there just to vibe, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like they're just there enjoying their time. They're enjoying you, and you know, like I've seen people with like well over like 100 viewers, 70 viewers. I mean, even 50 viewers, where the chat's not that active. You saw it was pretty active earlier, but then it kind of like died off because either, you know, but the things that I just mentioned.
Yeah, everybody's got their own community, but sometimes when it comes down to it, it's also based on just, you know, based on what can be interesting for people they can talk about on hand, what they see or so. And sometimes they might be there just to watch what you're doing, just to kind of get the idea of what's going on first. For the other times, they're just there just to have it like in the background, just so they can vibe doing what they're doing or so. Kind of like you know, you're basically the radio for them, like the outlet, where basically they're dealing with stuff while they're hearing what you're doing back here or so.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
Like, I've had days where my chat's going like a million miles an hour. And then other days where it's just kind of like, you know, everybody's just chilling. And it's like, either way, you know, I just appreciate them for being there, just hanging out and doing whatever, you know?
Yeah, same here.
Because, especially for us, like, VR streamers, it's very, very difficult. Like, if you're playing a desktop game, it's a lot easier to just kind of, like, look away from your screen for a second and re-chat. Whatever line you might catch your eye or whatever, and then keep talking, talk to everybody. And then there's some other times, like for us VR streamers, where it's really hard to do that because we're trying to get that fine balance between providing content and talking with chat. And it's kind of hard sometimes to just kind of flip your hand and see like what's going on.
Yeah, especially when you just want to make sure that it's entertaining for everybody else on hand, and you're also showing yourself at your full potential of, you know, what it means to be an entertainer. Like, because you're not trying to force like comedy or just like force anything on the situation on hand. It's just a matter of basically just trying to vibe the best way you can with those around you. In addition, just having a good time trying to talk to people, like being social. That's what it is for like being like a VR chat streamer. Just being very social and just trying to connect as best you can with who you want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's gonna have like a different like kind of
Yeah,
vibe. So
and sometimes I feel like VRChat streamers, this is going more into the community, yeah. Actually, we're kind of still on the community portion of it, where we're talking about streaming and the VRChat community. It's sometimes when you're streaming, you're like, especially VRChat people are like kind of have this stigma on them to being very lewd, and sometimes you're sometimes things can fall out of your mouth that you don't feel like is lewd at the time. And then somebody says something, and then you're just like, oh wait, did I really say that? Or you're trying to like avoid saying something, and then you just like, it just kind of like slips up anyway. It's like, oh, you're sitting there and you're just like, don't say titties, don't say titties, don't say titties, titties, fuck. Okay, sorry.
No, I got you. It's, I want to classify it like underneath a certain trend when it comes to VR chat, where like it's kind of like weirdly associated like with the game entirely on hand, where like if you're not like, it's weird. It's like if you're not part of like this certain main group of like people on hand, like say, I'm gonna put an example out. Say like if you're not part of like that main group of big people, like where say it could be just like Lolfon, Linden, or basically like anybody else that kind of surrounds that in a round circle or so that you know would be associated with that group or so, or you would see, then it's kind of like one of those things where you got to build yourself from the ground up on like what kind of group you got or so, because you know for a fact it's going to be hard to even be able to be associated or be able to, you know, be friends with everybody entirely in that group, because everybody's going to have their own different humor or so. Like it's like the, you know, you're looking in the glass within on how they do it, but you don't know exactly how exactly they do things because you're not within that group or so. And it's also to where, which I've always had a controversial opinion about it, but I will say, when it comes to it, I've always found it where people who basically do nothing but loot content like for VRC or so and basically garnish a community based around that in general or so, I actually don't see it as content creating, because there's not really anything invasive with it, and it seems just kind of like anybody in the world can do it. Like you're not really doing too much with it at all or so. You're just basically garnishing on the hopes of somebody else's you know, on the hopes of somebody else's just urges in a way, you know.
Yeah.
And when you grab onto that or so, that could be either temporary or that can be long term, depending on exactly what kind of feeling you're drawing from those people. And when you do draw that feeling or so, they might actually blur that line a little bit, where basically it becomes less, you know, stream personality and more along the lines of basically stalkerish in a way, in my own head. And it falls also into that trap of like, you know, mute streamers, where basically if you try to show your real self, or basically if you start talking for so, then there may be a point where basically those people are going to go away, because whatever they envision you as, they're basically, you shattered that illusion of it, and so they're like, they kind of like realize what they thought of isn't really there. So, but it's
so an interesting thing on mute streamers. Mute streamer, like, I do want to say that there is times where like there are certain trends that come around. You know, there's the mute streamers. They were a trend for a while. Everybody was watching mute streamers. You got the times where everybody wants to watch femboys, or you want to see the times where everybody wants to watch traps or anything like that. Mute streamers in general, honestly, I believe I really have a hard time. Not like just streaming, but like, you know, like just within a community, getting noticed, or even like when they do get noticed, then they have a hard time if they want to share more with their community. Say if they want to talk or something like that, they have a very hard time, because when they've been mute for so long, you kind of get this thing in your head where like, what if I talk, will they not like me anymore?
Yeah, you corner yourself,
you know, because like, yeah, so you're just kind of like, man, what if they found out that, you know, they're actually a chick, then are they gonna get harassed, or are they gonna get all this and that? Or if they found out they're a dude, they're just like, is everybody just gonna leave? Are they gonna like Are they not gonna like support you anymore? You know, all that kind of stuff. And it's, I don't know, it's just really, it's really, really hard for mutes.
And
Especially, I honestly used to be mute.
no, I understand. I mean, I've known people who've also been mute too, and they have talked before here and there. And it's one of those things where there have been people who accept them as who they are because they appreciate the person in general, and then there's some people who basically it's the opposite where that happened on hand because of how they done things here and there. And you can't look at this in a better way than the case of like what happened to like Forcible, where they were mute.
Oh yeah.
When they were mute, you know, they were a dancer and everything. It basically created this illusion for people of what they assume is this, and then the moment they reveal their voice and everything, or basically show themselves on a webcam and everything, that's basically when it just kind of like, you know, Thanos snapped because of that. Because
Definitely.
you know, you put yourself into a corner wall when you did that, and that's why it's a dangerous game to play that on entirely. So you either stick with it for the long run just to have what you can, or you do reveal like the magic or behind the curtains of what exactly it is, and may either have the people who stay with you or lose everything in general because of what it is.
Yep.
It's a dangerous tightrope they're walking on. So I just hope for the most part they know what they're doing. So
I highly agree with that. Like, but at the same time, it's like, while that is a very dangerous tightrope, and it's very likely that a lot of your community will leave, but you kind of shouldn't really dwell on that, honestly, because a really good example, I think, as part of this would be Whisper. Whisper was mute for the longest time. They had really high numbers while they were mute. They were well within the 50s, 60s, and they were all pretty much on their way to possibly even getting partner. But one day they did their voice. They actually revealed their voice, and then a few streams after that, their community was very, very. While they still had a big community, their viewership was very low. Like they were within the teens. And I just want to say, like, you know, if you're a mute streamer, if you're doing anything like that, don't worry about that, because look at Whisper right now. He's partner now. He's doing really well for himself. Yeah. He's gotten well within hundreds of viewers at a time to 200 viewers at a time, and he's doing pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, he picked himself back up and reinvented himself.
Exactly. While he did reinvent himself, I don't put that against him at all. I do miss his old Fox avatar. But I mean, if he wants to be a robot, he can be a fucking robot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, be what you want to be, especially if it is contribute to you as the person, you know.
Yeah.
So, but let me go into the next question I have here, being old VRC memories. Now, if you could just remember, like, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say old VRC memories? Like, it could be a happy moment. It could be, like, a moment that you could just constantly go look back on or so when it sparks that, like, a keyword for you.
Honestly, probably the best memory that I have is whenever I actually met my friend Zoof. I actually met him through Frosty. So this one time, I was just chilling, right? I was in Turtle Dude's world for a while, and then Frosty comes in. Well, whenever Frosty came in, he had somebody else with him. Not physically, but he had him playing through his mic. and they were talking about, like, how he was helping Frosty getting models and everything like that. And I remember before, like, I was doing my trap voice for him, and he was like, "Oh, dude, you wanna go do shit? You wanna go ERP and stuff like that?" It's like, I was just fucking around the entire time. I was like, "Yeah, let's go ERP. Let's go do that. Come on, get in here. Let's meet." And then like, and then we actually met, like, in game, and we like, even before we met in game, we just, like, really hit it off, you know. We're like super close friends, and it's like every time that we're together, it's like his ADHD matches with my ADHD, because I don't know. I'm kind of known, I guess, as being a really big nobody knows what the fuck I'm gonna do next. I'm always very hyper and just kind of like fuck, shiny over there. I need to get it. Give me the shiny. And it's I also come across as a really big airhead. We'll say that.
No, no, it's all good. No, it's all good, because I know for a fact about the whole your ADHD in a way, because like I know because you get distracted with a lot of different things here and there, which is understandable because that happens sometimes, especially when you're trying to deal with so many different things here and there. And I honestly assume that with your ADHD, you probably will write down a lot of ideas in a book or like a notepad for basically for what you have.
Oh, dude, I could write an entire fucking light novel for you if you really wanted to. But this is almost basically like self-diagnosed ADHD, because I don't know if I actually have it, but it feels like I do. Especially whenever somebody else like from outside looking in kind of says, dude, yeah, you got some fucking ADHD on you. And I'm just like, okay. I've never actually had that diagnosed before.
But it explains how you're able to keep up with a lot of things here and there. Like, you keep up with a lot of things that are trying to balance out so many different stuff you can do here. Especially when it's like you're in a lobby of people on hand. You could just be chilling or so, and then immediately, if you hear somebody, you just immediately just kind of like turn your attention to it. Just to make sure it's not getting ignored or anything. So it's understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable on hand. Is there any more memories that come to your mind for the most part? Like, any other...
Honestly, very first time I started playing. So the very first time I started playing, I, like I said before, I had friends that, they were all in VR. I was still in desktop. And, it kind of made me feel a little left out, but I was still able to have fun with them. We went into different worlds just trying to find some avatars, and every time we found an avatar, we just fucking made fun of it.
Oh, there you go. I mean, because there's like some interesting avatars you could easily look at. Yep, go ahead.
Is that a Senpai Supreme that I see in the chat right now?
Yeah, it is. What's going on, Senpai? Yeah, I see it. It's Senpai, and I also see Neko. Yep. Hope you're both doing alright. Nico. Hope you're both doing okay. Sorry, not Neko. Nico. Hope you're both doing alright. Yeah. Yeah.
I just call him Zelf.
Zelf? I'll remember that too. Call him Zelf for the most part. Hope you both are doing alright. But, I know the feeling, because trust me, there's like some weird avatars, like, some of them you don't expect to find in interesting, like, they're like in the interesting corners of VRC you don't even expect to find until you're looking at it like, where did this come from, and what idea caused this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then another thing, like, with everybody that I've met so far that have been, like, mute, I honestly, with being mute before, like, I only really talked to people when I was in a Discord call with them. Anybody in game, I would never really talk to, and I honestly connect more, and I feel like I'm really, really great friends, and they're just easier to talk to for me, because whenever I start hearing somebody talk, I sometimes kind of shy away and just like, I don't know what to fucking say, dude.
No, I understand. Because some of the biggest people you know that are probably mute or so probably do the exact same thing you do, where basically, depending on who the closest friends they have, they do talk in a Discord call. It's just making sure that it doesn't get out or so here and there. Like, and I've seen that happen on hand.
Because I know Oath and Co do that a lot, because, you know, whenever they're streaming, you see them, and their mouth is moving on their avatar, but they're not actually talking in game. They're just like, they're in a Discord call with like one or two friends. And especially with Co, whenever she's in a Discord call with somebody, she always has them going like talking on her stream while she's talking to them, and just kind of like, you know, hanging out, vibing, and do whatever.
I got you. Keep them company. Keep them company on hand, which actually, that is the perfect thing to do, especially for a mute streamer, because that way they have people right next to them to keep them company, as well as just like keep a talking point for what they can do here and there, because that way it doesn't become, you know, very, you know, anxiety build up on hand as like a mute streamer, which is a good idea, I will say. Keep them what they gotta do.
Definitely.
So, let me go ahead and we'll get into different topics on hand. Now, I mentioned about the VRChat Scene, but let me talk about the VRChat Current Present. Now, when you first started VRC, like from the beginning of the first day you ever did to all the way here we are at the present time, what are some of the things you're glad they changed up on hand, and what are some of the things that you wish that have not been changed at all?
Well, honestly, I do actually, while some people might not like it, I do like the more minimalistic take they took with the name tags. I do like that.
Mhm.
It's not super invasive anymore. Back before, whenever they had the older name tags, they were very big, they were very bulky, and they really took up a lot of screen space, especially when you had a bunch of people in one spot.
Okay, yeah, well, it makes sense. Because not only that, it clears up the entire spot. Well, actually, I kind of agree with that just because of the fact that it clears up the whole spot of, like at that point in time with the whole name tag, like, elitist thing, where basically if you weren't purple, or basically if you were, like, gray, green, blue, or something like that, basically it eliminates that whole process on hand. The only time you'll ever know or so if you just basically open your menu and just highlight them to find out. So...
Yep, or you could just open up your menu and look up.
yeah, just look up. So, either or. Either or on hand, I will say.
I would say also, I do like the, what are some of the other things they changed? I do like that some of the stuff they added, like, say, avatar, like, size, you can't, you won't be able to see anything over a certain size, whether it be 200 megabytes or 300 megabytes or whatever you want. And being able to turn off dynamic bones, which I can see from looking at the other screen, is that you have my hair off and everything like that, so you got dynamic bones off, and I think that's really good for, like, optimization purposes, because one of the biggest things that lags people in VRChat, if I know, like, yes, you want to try to optimize your avatars, but you could just turn off the fucking dynamic bones.
Yeah. I mean, I could always turn them on or so. It's just one of those things where, for some reason with dynamic bones and everything, like, depending on how big of a lobby it is you're in, is what determines on if you're going to leave them on or turn them off. Like, if it's just you and me right here or so, all I got to do is just basically, I can just turn it off, and then just like that, boom. Now it's active. Now you basically, when you move around or so, yeah, my hair moves around and everything. So there you go. So there you go. I usually have them on because when I get in like a big group room or so, what ended up happening is basically I start to lag.
There we go.
Yeah.
You just had...
So I start to lag constantly here and there or so, and right now as where I'm sitting here, it's just about in between like 80, 90. So it's all good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, once you get in a big lobby, and there's a lot of that. Yes, that can cause lag, but not as bad as, like, sometimes what they insinuate, like, would actually for the avatars would do. Because there's a lot of AAA games out there that have a shit ton of, like, materials and dynamic bones and cloth physics and all this stuff that they run just fine.
Oh yeah, definitely on hand. It's just unfortunately in a game like this or so, it's depending on how good your internet is and depending on how good your hardware is what will determine if you can just at least survive in a lobby that big, which is hard to say because sometimes there's like lobbies where basically some people's avatars where they can have like so many things on hand. It goes over like so many, like, not poly counts, but basically so many materials on hand where it's just kind of like you may be dropping to like 45 or 50 frames depending on where it is. So, but
and I do like some of the stuff, like, say the whole thing with, like, Avatars 3.0. I feel like that's I think that was a good step, but at the same time I don't feel like that's a good step because honestly, it kind of takes away from their security of the game. Because you know how, like, with Avatars 3.0, you can have, like, an avatar underneath another avatar. And, well, there's, like, you can honestly have an avatar underneath an avatar underneath an avatar underneath an avatar. And that kind of makes it, like, a little bit easier for people that, especially malicious people, to kind of hide the fact that they have a crasher avatar.
Yeah. It does do that. It does do that on hand. And I think the worst part about that is, too, like, you won't know somebody has a crasher avatar until you look at their avatar and, like, it's hidden and everything. And then you show their avatar, and then it just hits you all in one go because you would have not known unless they said something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could be like a landmine you didn't even expect stepping on until the moment you kind of, like, got curious enough to find out. So.
Yeah, true. Like, I just wish, one of the things I wish they would do is try to, not really be more stingy about it, but, like, try to be more observant, I guess, as far as what people are uploading. Like the good thing that they changed is no longer do we have like a max of 20K or anything like that. Now we can actually have, you know, more like prettier avatars, we'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
We can have prettier avatars, we don't have to worry about it, like decimating everything, making everything look like fucking Roblox. But we can, I do wish there were some more a little bit like restrictions in mind. Say like some of the things I wish they would give us is the ability to say, you know, like shader limiters, mesh limiters, you know, just give us more limiters, you know, let us be more, give us something that we can be more, you know, a lot safer with, because some people will have these things called mesh crashers. And what they'll do is they'll put like a fuck ton of like polygons on the end of a stick, and they'll smack you with it or in your face with it, and they'll crash you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember that. No, I know exactly what you remember, because I remember that happening. Like, that was in like 2018. That's been happening since then. Like, basically, people do put like stuff on a small stick on hand, just smash you with it or so. I mean, at least expect it. No, I know what you mean.
Yep.
And
yeah, because while you can, like, yes, you can hide somebody's avatar, you can also, like, you know, hide shaders or particles or anything like that. But if you have somebody's avatar showing, there's still going to be that possibility of getting mesh crashed.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you. I mean, hopefully they can or so. I feel like the biggest drawback to that is the fact that people who uses, like, certain meshes or, like, certain, like, shaders on hand, it does contribute to, like, something with their models entirely. And the reason I say that is because there's been certain shaders where if they don't have it or so, their entire model is for some reason just completely nude on hand.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
So I feel like
I've had that before.
So I feel like that would be like an interesting step on hand where if you do try to get that, you got to kind of get it in a certain aspect where it doesn't accidentally become like a TOS thing where you least expect it. Like, you just turn it on and everything, you look up and there's like 5 to 10 people who are completely naked for you just because of the shader you limited on hand or so.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's got to be there. I would feel like there would be needed to be some kind of like slider, or you know how they have like the avatar size, you know, something like that. Something that where you could just select it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it might be a work in progress, like, for them to do it. It's just a matter of time.
Eventually, maybe, but there are some, like, clients that, you know, some people that I know that use clients, they have all of that kind of stuff on there. And especially, they can even block people from doing malicious activity, like dropping portals on people or, you know, anything like that. They can actually block somebody else's client outright, and they also have an anti-ripper. I'm like, Jesus, man. Okay. It's so you're like Fort Knox at this point.
Yeah, it's like you're one step closer to having like a cyber warfare happening in a game, just because it's like client versus client, you know. Oh, you're gonna use this client? Well, I'm gonna block it out of you, and then basically it just turns into like the whole. It's kind of like a. How do I describe it? So you ever play Injustice? Gods Among Us?
I have not, actually. I've played Mortal Kombat, but I haven't played Injustice. I know they're made basically by the same people.
The only way I could describe it as is basically that there's a scene where basically Cyborg's fighting evil Cyborg, and basically they have like this weird like cyber warfare battle where basically they're locking each other's like appendages and body parts with like just doing like the screen sliding and everything, like security, firewall, and all that. And it's just basically two guys just basically touching screens and doing all this while just messing with each other with that. That's what I think of when I see it. So
wow.
in that sense,
I haven't seen that, but it sounds like fucking awesome, to be honest.
But let me go in with the next question I have is basically anything you're looking forward towards, like for what VRChat or basically anything VR game has to offer, like Chill Out VR, maybe Neos VR, maybe VRChat in general, depending on what they have on the horizon for you.
Man, okay, I'm gonna go through all three really. So VRChat, I am looking forward to people being able to do more and like be more intuitive with like making different worlds, especially with the Udon system. I do want to see more like game worlds. I want to see more like horror maps. You know, just more activity worlds. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we all kind of went through this phase in this game to where everybody wanted to go to chill worlds and just look at mirrors all day. But I like what some people are doing, and they're really being very creative and coming up with different games and whatnot. Neos VR, I am looking forward to them actually putting more optimization into their game. They have been doing a lot of work in that aspect. Because I remember the first time I played Neos, it wasn't very playable, but they did a lot of work. They made it a lot more playable, and I think they are on a right track. And I think they're going to keep improving, and it's going to get even better. And that whole like thing where you can just grab other people's avatars and do whatever the fuck you want with their ears or tails is just going to be that much more fun. And Chill Out VR, I haven't really played Chill Out. I do think they're going to do like really good stuff with it. I think honestly, if one thing, I don't think that really they should be super competitive, except I think they should really more learn from each other. While like say there's some stuff like you got some stuff that Chill Out's got. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
VRChat, we're gonna go ahead and maybe implement something similar to that, but just with our own kind of like flavor. You know what I mean? Our own kind of take on it.
Kind of like with Facebook and Twitter, where basically Twitter's borrowing stuff from Facebook and Facebook is borrowing stuff from Twitter just to try to innovate themselves in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that, you know.
Exactly.
Yep. So, last question I have on hand in this following category on hand, and just to make sure. Yep, and I'm just making sure because this is the curveball one, because everybody's gonna have a different answer with this one. But let's talk about anime.
Hell yeah!
And talk about anime.
Let's go. I'm a fucking weeb.
All right. Well, there's a three-part question to this, but let me say this: when I say anime, what's the first series that comes to your mind?
Oh my god, probably the first series that comes to my mind is going to be The Devil's Part-Timer. And then right after that, probably Konosuba.
Konosuba, that's a good one. I actually have not seen The Devil's Part-Timer, but Konosuba is a classic. Classic on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, now that you mentioned two of those, that falls into the second question, being what is your favorite series? If you had like a top 5 or so, or basically how many you can think of, it comes to your mind, like favorite series that you would watch.
Man. Favorite series that I would watch. Alright, well, we're gonna go ahead and put Konosuba on top there. Right after that, I would say... Trinity 7. Trinity 7's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I would say... Oh, man, I know this is gonna, like... If anybody has seen this... you know how fucking sad it is, but Kami-sama ni Natahi, which just translates to The Day I Became a God, and it's a real tearjerker, and I kind of hope they actually make a second season of it. It's good how it ended, but there's more to the story. There's more that could be told, I believe.
No, I feel
And then let's see, honestly. As much as I this is kind of like a toss-up, but Sword Art Online is the first arc I thought was really good. Something. I don't remember what the fuck it's called, but
I know
that
what
was
you're talking
actually
about.
pretty cool. I really like that. But I feel like Sword Art Online has kind of run its course a little bit. It was really good. I really enjoyed the first arc and Alatris or whatever, but the second arc and Gun Gale was actually pretty good. I actually liked that one, the second season of it.
I mean, it was an interesting twist. Interesting twist on it. So.
And I'm sorry, but like, One Piece needs to fucking die already.
I'm aware, because there's people who do enjoy One Piece, and then there are people who like can't quite understand on why it's going this long. And the only thing I can tell you is the creator of One Piece has got like so many ideas they want to implement in it that basically they can't stop thinking of ideas in general. Like they basically expand the adventure of it or so, which, like I said, it's probably going to be quite possibly in the history of anime the longest series they ever continued. Like I guarantee it passed Dragon Ball Z that quick. So.
Oh yeah. And speaking of Dragon Ball Z, I actually like while Dragon Ball Z is actually very mainstream, I actually still enjoy it, even though they kind of took some weird turns, some weird character development within Super as well. I think they still got a lot more coming too, because the mangas are still coming out, which are honestly they're kind of interesting in my personal opinion. So I do kind of look forward to some of the stuff that they have coming out for Dragon Ball. And here's a really nice classic for you, Trigun.
That's a good one. I've always as a kid, I've seen it like the head. It's basically on the heads and tails like a coin. Like on heads you get Cowboy Bebop, on tails you get Trigun. Like they both go hand in hand in some way for me. I don't know why, but yeah, that's a classic on hand. Which this leads to a third question. That's basically this: what is the anime series that hit you close to home? Like when you watch it and everything, it's like I feel that too much. Like something towards you that you relate to it.
Oh man. Oh man, I haven't really thought about this one too much. Something that hits me close to home. Probably. Oh, I can't really think of anything at the moment, to be honest.
No, it's all good, and trust me, it's one of those things where there'll always be an anime that you can relate to, even at the smallest forms of it on hand. Even if it's a tearjerker on hand, you at least relate to it, like in the sense of understanding. Like it could be the protagonist, it could be a side character, it could be maybe a sympathetic like antagonist. Like it'll come to you when you least expect it on it, even if it is in the near future. But just know, there's definitely stuff out there that will definitely remind you on hand. So, but this leads me to my final question for you, and I'm gonna take this camera and I'm gonna move this to the center here for you, because that way you could be center stage.
Eat your fucking camera.
Don't you eat my camera? You already got chicken. You already got chicken from Uber Eats. You don't eat it. Nah.
I'm eating it.
Nah, don't eat it.
I'm gonna eat it. I already did.
All right. So my question for you is this: what are your goals and dreams? And at best, what is the best advice you can ever give to anybody? I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna let you have center stage for this. Take it away.
All right. Okay, my goals and dreams currently, honestly, I'm going to. My current goal right now is to actually just get out of the Air Force, get out of the military. If you are planning or ever going to the military, just make sure that it's actually something you really want to do. If you don't feel like maybe it's something you really, really want to do, but you feel like that you should do it, only go for 4 years. Just do 4 years. That's it. Don't do any more. If you feel like that's what you want to do after 4 years, then you're good. Go for it. But don't sign 6. Do not let them sucker you into 6. I swear to fuck, if they say like, oh, we have like a bonus for you. You get a $4,000 bonus just by signing a 6-year. They're lying. Do not let them lie to you. Okay, I went in there thinking I was gonna get a bonus for signing 6 years, and turns out I needed A+ certification. And now, but at this point, I will, whenever I get out, I'm going to actually be able to get the MGI bill. If you live in Texas, make sure you actually like register or sign up in Texas, because that way you can actually get the MGI bill, which is really nice. And then you can get the 9/11 GI Bill, and also you can get the for more specifically for Texas, the Hazelwood Act, which will pay for all of your tuition. You basically going to be going to college for free. So, but if you don't feel like military's for you, please just go to college. Just do something with that. If you feel like you want to do it after, they'll pay for everything as far as any kind of college goes. If you go to college, you get your degree, you say, okay, I have my bachelor's degree, but I still kind of want to do mil. Alright, cool. Do 4 years, just get that shit paid off, and they'll pay everything off. But if you have a history with, like, say, anxiety, depression, anything like that, personally, I would say steer clear. It's very hard. Military is very hard. You're not going to have a great time. And it'll be, you'll probably actually thank yourself for not doing it, because there's a lot of things out there that already, like, make us anxious, make us feel like we're not really doing what we need to do. But if you just try to take a step back, kind of look forward a little bit, you'll kind of start to notice about yourself, like, what's actually there for you, what you could be there for, and put your mind to that. Just keep going. And but another goal is I actually really want to get a partner on Twitch, and I want to keep just keep growing everything that I possibly can. And that's like it's not gonna be like it's a long-term goal, but it's also not like end goal, because with anything that we do like online, there's always going to be a time to where we kind of say, you know, I've run my course, I need to think about other stuff. Make sure you have something that you can fall back on. If you want to get partner, if you want to get all this stuff, make sure there's something else that you can do even after that. Like, my goal for another thing is going to college, and I want to get my bachelor's degree in video game development. The video game industry is very large. The computer industry is huge, and we can really make a very nice living on, like, doing that, and just continuing to, you know, progress it forward, everything like that. So yeah, that's my piece.
That's your piece? All right. Let me do one thing here. I'm going to wave this back a little bit here. And before we call it, I am going to bring this to the chat in general, and that chat is this. All right, guys, do you have any question for Drewski here on hand? Also, I see you, Rosie. I see you, Langle. I see Ketaku. Anybody got any questions on Ketaku? Oh, you guys got any questions on hand for Drewski here you would like to ask him? I will say on hand or so, I will say, when you do get your bachelor's degree in like video game design or everything, what are you going to be starting your own indie game company, or are you going to be just like going into one of those AAA companies?
No, I honestly, for me, I really want to be my own boss, and I really want to start a company with friends. Even though eventually, maybe if some things happen, we might hate each other. I don't think we'll hate each other for very long, and we'll get back to what we were doing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all good.
I've had times like that.
Well, I've had
friends in the past that we just kind of hate each other a little bit, and then we fight for a little bit, and I just like crack a few jokes here and there, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, we're friends again.
Yeah, that's what happened. Hey, that's the best of friends on hand. Where basically you can crack a few jokes with each other. You can crack a few jokes with each other. You may have a point in time where basically you may have an argument here and there, but the thing is, you guys come back around, basically hug it out, and just basically say, hey, we'll grow together as good human beings. So
Hell yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
see Zilf's kind of thinking about
Yeah.
something. What you got, Zilf?
Yeah. Like I say, if you guys got any
Zelf,
questions for
my bad.
Drew, throw it away, even if it's a random one. Doesn't hurt.
Even if it's about my toes, I'll tell you to go fuck yourself.
I'm not gonna ask any backstory on that. I'm just gonna leave it where it is, on the ground. So, but yeah,
It's on the ground. Pick it up. No, just kidding.
no, I'm not gonna pick it up. Even if it's a penny that's based on tails, I'm not picking it up. So, but I will. But yeah, the reason I asked that is just because of the fact that I used to do game design on hand. Like I went to college for it, and I was going for my associate's degree on hand. But it was one of those things where I kind of fell in love with basic content creating and streaming. So I basically grew on the aspect side of like video editing and just trying to, I guess, improve like speaker wise or so, just communicate a little bit, and also. I guess in the long run, I'm also run a little bit about psychology and everything, because I always want to know how people are and basically what goes through their minds more than anything else. Because everybody's got. Yep.
Honestly, anything like that, as far as speaker-wise, even psychology-wise, you know how what kind of character you could build with that, even like speaker-wise, like voice acting, storytelling, just coming up with a thing in general for the character itself. Like, what does he think? What is going on inside his head?
Yeah.
What is going on inside the player's head?
Yeah. It's just my way. It's just my way, basically, because that's the whole thing with Shoot the Breeze. Is basically I want to kind of remove the whole streamer personality and everything, and I want people to get a chance to know you, the human being. And that way it can clear up any illusion on hand, or basically what people would automatically assume about you when clearly this is who you are more than anything else. So, but I will say Zepha has a question for you, saying, "What did you want to become as a kid?"
What I wanted to become as a kid? Okay, let me tell you a little something here. When I was little, I actually really, really loved watching like Animal Planet and stuff like that. So it kind of popped in my head when I was little. I wanted to be a veterinarian.
No, that's understandable. I mean, yeah, that's understandable. I mean, it's a good career to go into, especially for caring about animals and everything, for the most part, for all things considered.
Yeah, when I was little, I mean, I still do. I love animals. Like, they like. For me, they've always been easier to talk to than even humans sometimes. So it's like, man, I could be a vet, bro. I could talk to the animal and be like fucking Dr. Doolittle, you know?
Yeah, Dr. Doolittle. Be like the dog whisperer, or the man who basically was caring about lions and everything. Lions and hyenas. So, that one on hand. But yeah, that's a notable one on hand.
What's wrong with you, boy?
Yeah, that would be a noticeable one on hand. And I guess just to add something into it, like this is one of those things where nobody actually asked me about it, but I could say this: when I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a pro wrestler.
No way.
Nah. Literally, I grew up watching wrestling. I grew up just basically seeing everything in general. Like, it was one of those things where at certain times I would actually watch the indies here and there. But I kind of grew out of it just because it was one of those things where I just want to try some different things. But I do come back to it from time to time to see what's going on here and there. And sometimes I make references that people don't seem to understand just because I came from a wrestling community. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do it just because both of my parents were like, no way. Just like, no way, you're not going to be able to handle it. So I was like, well, I guess that's out of my hands. I can at least look on and cheer, so. Yeah. But hey. But hey, it's just one of those things where you look back on it as like you have enjoyment on hand for what you can work with here and there. So, also, Zephyr has one more question for you, asking, how did you come up with your character design? In parentheses, I don't know if you already asked.
No, I haven't gotten asked that yet. I have kind of been asked it before, but it was actually really quick. So how I came up with my character design. So when I was doing D&D, one of my first characters, honestly, was a kitsune. I played a kitsune ranger. Their name was, oh my god, what was their name? Oh my goodness, this was on Pathfinder also. Oh man. I don't know. I don't remember what my name was, but it was a Kitsune Ranger. I just love the idea of like the Japanese lore of Kitsune and everything like that, and I started to kind of gravitate more toward that. And as far as my favorite animals, like it went from white tiger, then I love wolves, and like when I was a lot younger, around 10, 11 years old, it was more like foxes, and I really felt like, you know, they just kind of fit me more, and the kitsunes just like really fit me. And when I got into VRChat, I was originally going to make a blonde male, and their name was Arata because that was the very last character that I had in D&D. And he was a blonde kitsune wizard, and I thought it was just the coolest shit, and I really liked the hair color on it too, so that kind of just stuck. So originally Suki was supposed to be, which is my character's name right now, Sukiharu, and originally she was supposed to be Arata's sister. It kind of evolved a little bit more later on. When I met somebody who's actually very close to me, and she's fucking awesome, she kind of put the idea in my head of demons, and her character was a full-blown like fox demon, and I never thought about that before because I loved demons when I was growing up as well. And just the whole thing with some biblical stuff, you know, whatnot, and some like just fantasy stuff. The demons were just awesome.
Yeah, just like
and
lore and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
just the whole lore of it. It was really awesome, and I just wanted to get more into that. When she told me about her character, we ended up kind of coming up with a thing to where I'm basically their like son / daughter or whatever, and so now my character is like half demon, half human, and the only thing that I really inherited from her, because originally my character did not have any horns and I didn't want to put any horns on it, it was just the eyes, because the very first avatar that I ever had, I actually got from World. I think it was a wolf, but I always just assumed it was a fox, because I was wanting to be a fox. And it was black hair with red emissions on the hair and red eyes. And I love the like look of red eyes, so I just stuck with it ever since. And so somebody made some more demon-looking eyes for me.
Mm-hmm. And
they're kind of
red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of gives you that signature look on him being like blonde and then red, a little bit of black streaks in. So, I don't think I have any more.
The only issue I had with that was I just didn't want to be associated with ketchup and mustard. So I was like,
I got you.
On it first.
no, I got you, because I do remember that like your first avatar I ever saw you and had like a little bit of red streaks in your blonde hair with it, and it was kind of like very demon-esque.
I still have it.
Yeah, I think you still have it. So yeah, I just remember you having that for the most part. But no, it's all good. It's all good, Seth. And hold on a second. Waiting for this to load in. Yep, there it is. Yep, I remember. That's the first avatar I met you in as.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. There it is on hand. So
very old. It's also very short.
Very short. I think it's because it wasn't made for like sitting down in. I think. Well, not sitting down, but
it actually wasn't. Ooh, shit.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm
you're
actually
good.
inside myself here.
Oh.
It wasn't made for full body. We'll say that.
Okay. No, I got you. Got you on hand. I don't see any more questions on hand, so I will say for the most part, that will be episode 36 of Shoot the Breeze.